Outside, exposed to the elements, generally in the dead of night, could you handle an intense situation at a gas station? These people found themselves on the receiving end of threats, violence, and sometimes rough pat-downs. Could you think quickly and get yourself somewhere safe, or would you freeze up? Today, we're going to look at some clips of intense, disturbing, terrifying situations at gas stations. We have a few that could have been avoided, and a few that show off some incredibly quick thinking. We'll let you decide which is which. Hopefully these encourage you to keep your eyes peeled, just in case. Gas station attendant found passed out. When you're traveling at night, you never really know what you'll come across. It could be dangerous out there, or you could walk into the wrong place. This person walked into a gas station just to notice the attendant was inebriated and doubled over themselves.
Sir? Hello?
It takes a few moments before the other person comes to, groggy and out of it.
Hey. You alright?
Eventually, a little out of it, the attendant checks them out. The rest of the clip shows a man who's not entirely all there, struggling to stay up. Thankfully, they woke him up before he stayed out too long. There were about 1,000 different ways this could have gone wrong.
Thank you very much, my man. Have yourself a good night.
Insane multi-car altercation at gas station. Watching the beginning of this clip seems like any other. A car pulls up to the gas pump and a woman gets out of her vehicle. This could have been just about any place, any night, anywhere. As vehicles continue to file in, we start seeing signs that things aren't as they seem. The person parked in the white car gets back in and nearly hits another woman, with seemingly no warning. Luckily, she jumps out of the way and seems unharmed. However, the behavior becomes more erratic. The white car swerves around and rams its front end into another vehicle while being chased. Soon, the white vehicle smashes into yet another car, then drives out and tries to hit a crowd of people. Getting out of the car, the woman goes into her trunk and starts taking a baseball bat to the second car, smashing the windshield in. The black car gets away, but the woman in pink isn't finished, coming after the car several more times off camera. A squad car has made it to the scene within a few minutes. Within a few minutes, the woman in pink is apprehended as they try to quickly figure out what's happening. Woman locked in gas station loses it. Sometimes you just have to ride it out. This woman began smashing glass bottles against the attendant's window when he locked her in. Whatever issue she started, he wouldn't let her go with it. According to the people filming, this seemed to be a semi-regular occurrence. The men behind the camera quickly begin to say things like, "She'll go to jail this time," meaning that there have been previous times that this has happened and that jail hadn't been a consequence.
Hey, she going to jail this time.
She continues to throw bottles and threaten the person on the other side of the counter, but they stay strong. Probably nice having such strong bulletproof glass like that. What would you do? Massive gas station explosion in Volgograd. There are several clips online of this, but this is one of the clearest, most thorough. A huge blast destroyed a gas station in Volgograd, Russia. It explodes in a massive ball of fire which can be seen from miles away. At least 13 were injured in the blast, which is a moderate number at best. The second clip shows it a bit closer up, clearly as it rips through the area and engulfs in a thick smoke plume pushing through the trees. The third clip is on the ground, watching as traffic tries to get away. The on-the-ground vantage point is unique because you can see how people are just watching from afar. Probably a good idea to get somewhere a bit safer though. Carjacking doesn't go as planned. Would you be prepared for a potential carjacking? Probably not. Thankfully, most of us will never have to deal with that in our lives. The thing is, if you're not prepared, you're at risk. This man learned that firsthand. While getting gas, a would-be carjacker approaches a car, immediately pulling out a gun and brandishing it towards the victims. This is reportedly nothing more than a few people giving each other dirty looks that turn into a much bigger production. The guy in orange starts shooting and the people in the car quickly return to their car and go in reverse to escape. They ran in no small part because of their quick thinking. How do you think they'd fare? Are you short on your feet? Gas station attendant held at gunpoint. If you were watching the tapes back, you'd be surprised to see how quickly things went south in this quick altercation. This footage of a robbery in Houston shows two men robbing a Shell gas station at gunpoint. The attendants seem confused at first and not as compliant as they wanted. They begin to grow irate, shooting their guns off and throwing things at him. The planning on this one wasn't the best, because the men left their faces uncovered even as they looked directly into the camera. They make it out in the end, running to their car and speeding off into the night, but the whole crime and escape were caught on CCTV. Attendant fights and holds her ground. You can't really know how your nights are gonna go at work until you get there. This woman probably didn't think she would get robbed on shift, but how could you? The man comes barreling in, quickly crowding her counter and trying to rob the place. The cashier, however, wasn't about to let that happen without a fight. She struggles with the would-be assailant and the two fight, moving towards the end of the counter. She managed to get a good look at him, but the suspect ran off. It's assumed he was probably a past customer, but it's hard to tell with a mask like that. Gas station becomes robbery hotspot. Can you imagine just gasping and witnessing a few masked men get out with guns? How would you react? What if the same gas station kept getting hit over and over again? This one location in Midtown Atlanta is a seeming hotspot of activity as thieves continue to hit it repeatedly. Sometimes they pile out of cars armed with guns, and other times they're blatant about it, just watching and grabbing everything they can before making a run. This location apparently had been forced to hire what they called a private army to keep them from being hit so often, which had seemed to work to some extent. Honestly, what is it about this gas station that makes it so appealing to robbers? You would think they'd learn and figure out a way to stop it, wouldn't you? Robber smashes video game machine for cash. People do desperate things for money sometimes. This clip opens as a hooded man walks into a gas station going to a paid video game machine. He puts in some money, picking out the card. However, quickly he becomes enraged, destroying the machine and stealing money from it. What we see is a second man quickly leaving the space. Clearly he sensed something was off. The man was wearing a hood and mask, so it was hard to see his face, meaning when they went to look for him, it would have been nearly impossible. Robbers didn't see on-duty cop in the parking lot. These two men walked into a 7-Eleven with plans, and those plans included holding a single cashier up at gunpoint. The man in the blue hoodie takes it on himself to climb over the counter, quickly crowding the cashier, who puts his hands up. The second man jumps over as well. However, much to everyone's surprise, a police officer comes in uniform, and quickly de-escalates the robbery. He pulls a gun on the robbers and the two men get on the ground, not wanting things to go south. The two teens clearly thought this would be a quick in and out and were surprised to see how quickly their robbery was met with swift action. Stealing video whole game cabinets for cash. Just robbing the till isn't enough for some people. They went up to a few video game machines and tried to break in to get the cash out. However, unlike the other one on today's list, these men failed miserably, and the machine stood strong. Not giving up, they busted down the machine and pulled it out of the whole gas station. They pile into the back of their car and the lot of them drive away into the night, likely to try elsewhere when they're not on a time limit. These machines seem to be a huge target for criminal activity, but how much money could really be in there? Before the last clip, since you watched up until this point, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? We post 2 new scary videos every week, so make sure to stay up to date with the new releases. Robbers waiting in the parking lot for onslaught. This victim returned to her car when her worst nightmare was just waiting out by the curb. As the woman is surrounded by multiple men with guns, you can see she begins backing up, hands up. They pat her down looking for anything worth anything. They settle on taking the food she's just bought out of her hand before turning back and going into the gas station. The car quickly peels out as one of the robbers steals the woman's keys and takes her car along with it. While there's likely not a whole lot that could have been done, in the spirit of prevention, it's a good reason you should always be aware of your surroundings. If a strange car pulls up next to you and no one gets out, then definitely try to keep an eye on it, just in case.